So it wasn't just one Mi 5S model, this is the Mi 5S Plus, which is the larger version of the two, which has a 5.7-inch screen and a dual camera setup. So they have opted for two 13 megapixel cameras, one that handles monochrome and the other that handles just color. It also has a larger battery, 3,800 milliamp hours versus the 3,200 on the Mi 5S. So let's have a look at it in greater detail. Spec-wise, it has the same Snapdragon 821 as the Mi 5S, but this time it is clocked to 2.35 GHz and starts with a minimum of 4 GB of RAM. You can also get a top-line version that comes with 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage. That is UFS 2.0 storage. My version here has 64 GB. So on the front of the Mi 5S Plus, we have this same 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera, ambient light sensor and the earpiece. Along the right hand side, the volume up and down buttons, power on button. Now these are made out of metal. Along the bottom, the navigation hardware keys. On the left hand side, the dual nano SIM tray. Now no micro SD card support on this mobile. On the back, the dual camera setup, fingerprint reader, dual LED flash, that is two-tone. Now the top and bottom is made out of plastic, these strips here. And the rear is made out of metal, a brushed metal looking design, but it does have a painted finish to it, giving it a smooth feel and not a textured feel. On the bottom, the loudspeaker Type-C port, which supports Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0, microphone, and you'll see two antenna lines. And finally on the top, the 3.5mm headphone jack, secondary microphone and IR transmitter. So I feel the build quality is good, but it isn't great. It's not as premium feeling as the Mi 5S. Now the Mi 5S feels a little more solid, and I do have a minor complaint with the power button. It has very little travel to it, very shallow, and we do still have the plastic top and bottom, which gives it more of a mid-tier feel and not a premium feel. So it has a maximum brightness of 650 lumens of brightness, which is quite bright, and I can make out what is on the screen using it in the direct sunlight. However, I do have one complaint with the screen, and that is I have a few dead or stuck pixels at the top of my display. And this is very hard to capture on screen, so I've taken a photo of it, and hopefully you can make out there. You see those little dots? That isn't dust. That is in fact a fixed pixel displaying a continual fixed color. So it's probably just a defect with my unit, and hopefully not affecting the whole lot of them. Now just to very quickly cover the ROM, so what it has is a custom skin on top of Android 6.0.1, and it's called MIUI. This is Xiaomi's own skin, and it has a very ISO feel and look about it with those icons and the colors that they use. Now it does have a couple of special features like double tap to wake, turn on the screen, and you can also run dual applications. And how you do that is you can set up to run, for example, WhatsApp twice on there, because we do have dual SIMs and dual numbers. That is possible. Now the performance of it I found to be very good. It's quick, it's snappy. RAM management isn't too bad. We do have around 2.6 gigabytes free on first use. It is a little aggressive at time at killing things off, but not as bad as my Samsung Galaxy S7. It takes a little while to get used to, but I have adjusted to it and found that in the end I didn't have the urge to go and install Nova or Apex launcher. You can of course install those custom or other third-party launchers if you want to get your app store back and you don't like having widgets and icons all together. Fingerprint reader is located on the rear, unlike the Mi 5S, which has it on the front. Now it's not an ultrasonic one, but it does work well. All you need to do is just place your finger there and it wakes and unlocks at the same time. No need to wake the mobile first. And it works for me literally 10 out of 10 times. So I found the loudspeaker on the Mi 5S Plus is actually better sounding and a little bit louder than the Mi 5S. Let's have a listen to it. So how does it perform in synthetic benchmarks? I still like to run these benchmarks just to compare it to other mobiles and tablets to see where we stand performance-wise. So the Geekbench 4 score is quite good. It's not the highest. You'll see high with octa-core Exynos processors from Samsung. And here's the Antutu 6.2.1 score. 150,000 isn't bad, but not as high as my Li Pro 3. But of course, benchmarks aren't everything. Now, the internal drive speeds, very good, with a read of 458 megabytes per second and writes of 167. Now, there's the wireless speeds. Not bad at all. I tested out another mobile at the same time and got about the same result there. The wireless signal and strength, moving from downstairs to upstairs away from my wireless router, perfectly fine. Speed drops a little as expected, but it's nothing alarming. And here are the 4G speeds that I managed to get. Again, performance very good. Now, the call quality, no complaints whatsoever, but it doesn't sound as good as the Li Echo Li Pro 3. Now, when it came to battery life, something very important, of course, in our mobile phone, very decent scores here. I had a screen on time of 8 hours and 26 minutes. And what I did is set the brightness to 200 lumens of brightness, and I proceeded just to drain the battery. You can see, went through, used YouTube, Mortal Kombat. Screen was the main hardware user. PC Mark for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Modern Combat for 1 hour and 4 minutes. Mortal Kombat X for 53 minutes. YouTube for 1 hour and 2 minutes. Chrome for 30 minutes. Asphalt 8 for 20 minutes. And that is my battery use there. So very good. I can easily make it through 2 days, perhaps even 3. So I'm very happy with the battery life. So GPS performance I found to be very good. It only takes seconds to get a lock, and you can see right here that I have very good signal. Most of the satellites there in range with green status there and very high numbers. So what's the gaming performance like? Well, every single game I have tested out is super smooth, very, very playable. Even the most demanding games like Mortal Kombat X, it only has a 1080p disc screen on it, so that makes things a lot easier for the Adreno 530 graphics. I have noticed with some titles, like Asphalt 8 here, that you get the occasional tiny little micro stutter, but I have honestly seen that on Android tablets and Android mobiles just everywhere. Now we look at the camera application. So there's only a couple of things here that are different from any other MIUI 8 mobile out there, and that is this mode right here, which is the stereo mode, which uses both the 13 megapixel monochrome and color sensors together to create an image. I have noticed that the shutter rate is a little bit slower when using this mode, and if I swap over now to just the single 13 megapixel sensor, that's much quicker there. Now, other modes here, we have the mono, just using the black and white sensor. Now, one thing I have noticed that the quality between using just the single 13 megapixel color sensor and then both 13 megapixel sensors is really non-existent, the difference between them. I find it very hard to distinguish which is which. Other modes we have are the typical ones here, so manual settings, you can adjust the focus, white balance, exposure time, ISO, and over into video mode. We have 4K setting, no digital image stabilization modes in 1080p, unlike the Mi 5S. I don't know why that's missing, it's disappointing to see, and I hope that Xiaomi will later add that with a firmware update. So let's have a look now at some video samples from the front and rear cameras, as well as some stills using the dual cameras in stereo mode. So there's a front-facing camera sample, and it's the same 4 megapixel as the Mi 5S, aperture of 2.0, and you can hear it picks up wind noise. It's quite windy here at the moment, and the quality of it is really good. 720p only, not 1080p, but it does suffer in low light. The frame rate drops down and video does get choppy then. So here's a sample in 4K. Let's get it to focus here on my camera, and then back into the foreground. And you notice that the focus isn't as fast as phones like the Galaxy S7. It doesn't have that dual pixel technology, but it does have phase detection autofocus. Speaking of the focus, sometimes it has problems, it goes in and out. And I am noticing the frame rate isn't particularly wonderful. It's a little bit stuttery, the video. So here's a look at 4K in low light conditions now. Sun has gone down, focus is struggling and there's a lot of grain and noise to the image. As expected with these kind of lighting conditions, it's very difficult for it. So just to quickly summarize, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed in the build quality. I mean, my power button is pretty much almost on the way out. It's got hardly any travel in it, doesn't feel good. And the rest of the mobile just feels more like a mid-range Redmi Note series mobile and not a premium flagship. The display on my unit also has 3 fixed pixels, not good to see after 2 weeks. Besides that, yes, the performance is really good. It is a bright screen, plays all the latest games, super smooth, really nice, and the dual camera on the rear. Do we honestly really need it? I can't see much of an improvement when using the stereo mode. So combining both the monochrome and color, really to me, doesn't make any difference and sometimes even results in a worse image. We would have been better off with the Sony IMX378 like the Mi 5S. Thank you so much for watching this review here, and hopefully I will catch you back in the channel with more future reviews. And if you haven't already, why not think about subscribing, and I hope to see you soon.